This video may be a bit late to review Sunday's game. Almost with these things you need to be instant for it to gain any traction or to kind of be worth it, because everyone's been diluting the game and dissecting the game ever since it occurred. But something occurred over the weekend which stopped me from being able to kind of do it yesterday. Good game overall. I felt that I've got to be honest, initially when it first started, Villa came straight out of the traps and kind of pegged us back fairly quickly. And to my mind, I was like, oh, here we go. We're going to get really kind of pushed back, and it's going to be sideways, and then we're going to end up making a mistake and they're going to pounce on it. It kind of felt a little bit like that, a little bit edgy in the sort of first 10 minutes or so. But once we got a bit of a foothold in the game, we did start to show a fair bit more passion than we'd shown for a while, which is right. It's what we've been calling out for: some passion, some commitment, some endeavour. And so I was good. I felt good that it started to build and get on our side and start to really go somewhere. And so it was pleasing to see that initially. It was more in patches than overall. You would like to have seen it be really, really consistent. But I think obviously the goal by Højbjerg was like the catalyst for the game, and that kind of set us up from that point, and there was no looking back. I didn't feel that we were really under any pressure, to be honest. I didn't feel that we were struggling in the back four, not for large parts of the game, and I don't think I really saw any kind of additional work from Hugo than you would normally expect. I think there was one where he kind of threw his hat on it and dived through the air like the black cat, but apart from that, I don't think he really had to do too much. But Højbjerg's goal, well taken. Me personally, I thought he'd lost the opportunity. I thought it took too long, and we'd lost the opportunity, lost that chance to put it in. But well taken. He kept his cool, kept his calm. He didn't whack it. He didn't lever it. He picked his spot and played it beautifully. And a great goal. And it seemed to mean something. Absolutely mean something. He came charging across the pitch and did the obligatory knee slide, which kind of went down with the fans, and there's always a great photo op. So yeah, it was good to see, and it was good for him to get that, because whilst he's not everybody's favourite, he's not everybody's cup of tea, I do think he's a bit of a stalwart in there. You do see the passion and the drive from him. So I was really pleased for him. But for me, the player of the match was Sonny. Out of all of those players, he was absolutely, driving. Come on. He was pushing and he was running and he was really trying to get there. And if it wasn't for some sloppy finishing, he could have had a few goals in that game, because the opportunities were there. A little bit disappointed with Harry. It didn't seem to be going well for him. Some of his passes were a little bit sloppy, a bit short. From where you would want them to be, but I could see effort and everything coming from him. The one who disappointed me the most, and it's interesting because I've heard other people saying that he had a really good game and it was the best game they'd seen from him for a while, or this season even, and I was like, really? I didn't think it. And the thing is, it's all about opinions, right? That's why these videos, people watch them, because you wonder whether do you agree with a person or do you disagree with a person. Is your view different from their view? Are they seeing it the same way? So that's why watching different ones of these gives you a different perspective. But for me, I felt Ndombele had a fairly poor game. He drifted in and out of it a lot, and his drive, I thought, wasn't really there. And I was disappointed, because I was thinking, he might actually kick on, because he'd started to just tick on nicely a little bit, and it was coming together. But for me, I didn't think he played that well, and I was really disappointed, to be fair. And I thought that when Lo Celso came on, it did give us a little bit more impetus. We did seem to have that little bit more bite. So yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with him, but I think the main talking point of the game has got to be the defence. So for me, he gets a lot of stick, Eric Dyer. He does, and I don't think you can. I don't think you can just praise him and say, you know, he's a good defender or whatever, because he gets caught out of position too much. He gives away too much time to the opposition and so on. But in terms of throwing himself in front of stuff and really going for it, I don't think you can fault him. You know, certainly on Sunday he was really up for the game and didn't put too many feet wrong, and you know, he seemed to get himself in right places at the right time. But Romero, Jesus, brain fart. Romero, I thought, was really, really assured, really calm under pressure. Didn't seem to put a foot wrong at all, to be fair. And the interesting thing is, the other time I'd seen him, you know, really play a full game, I thought he was going to be a bit dodgy in terms of giving away free kicks and stuff, diving in a little bit Serge Aurier-esque, of doing that odd, you know, footing just that little bit too much or whatever, and you know, players, they go down so easy these days, and I was like, oh, you know, what's that going to be like? But actually, he was really good. He stayed really calm, got in good positions. You know, he didn't rush it. You know, he made good decisions the whole way through it. So I was really pleased for him, because you know, we've been crying out for a little bit of stability, and I just feel that that's where Nuno needs to go. He needs to pick this back four. You know, who's going to be his back four, because they need to play together. They need to get minutes and understand positional play and so on. That's what always made Jan and Toby so good, was that they played together so often that they had really good, you know, spatial awareness amongst each other. So you really need to build that up. You know, you're not going to get that, you know, for no reason. You've got to get that through playing together, you know. I'm not sure Dyer's the person to do that with, although, as I said, I thought we had a decent game on Sunday. For me, it would be Rondon. You know, I think he's a quality player, or even Tanganga. I'd like to see Tanganga played at centre back, because that's his position rather than right back. If we're going to use Emerson, he's going to be our main right back. Then, you know, for me, why wouldn't you try Tanganga in the back there with Romero? You know, and I know we're talking about young players and all the rest of it, but these guys, you know, if you're good enough, it doesn't matter how that young they are, you know. So I'd rather see something that's going to build over time and get stronger and stronger. But as I say, it's all about opinions. I mean, just moving on to Romero, to Emerson. Again, I thought he had a good game. He started off a little bit shaky. A couple of bits I thought, oh, you know, what's he doing here? He's a bit gangly, and you know. But actually, he made some sensible decisions, and he kept plodding on, and he kept going. His forward runs were good. He kept going, and his link up with Lucas seemed to be, you know, getting better as the game went on. He took no prisoners as well. I mean, he got kicked about a little bit, and he wasn't prepared to just sit back and take it. You know, he did make sure that he gave a little bit back. So, you know, that was pleasing that he's a bit tougher. You know, so overall, I think, you know, defensively, certainly from that point of view, went pretty well. Reggie, great going forward. Although I'd like to see his final ball to be better, but there's still question marks over him tracking back, going back, you know. But he seemed to be swept up and cleared up quite well overall. I get the other big shout out for me was the ref. I thought the ref had a really poor game. There was some times where he could have stopped the game and given a free kick. There was a couple of times where I thought they could have given a booking, which he didn't give and stuff. So I know they're trying to let the game flow a little bit more, but some of the things he blew up for, I thought, why are you doing that? And some of the stuff he didn't blow up for, couldn't understand why he didn't. So I think he had a bit of a poor game, really. I mean, there was one where one of their players dived in 2-footed. I don't know who was on, Lucas it might have been, or Sonny even, I can't remember now. But yeah, just to see that tackle go in like that, I thought, oh, that's a booking, and he never did. And then there was another one. He literally went to the player, you know, 4 times. That's the 4 times, no more. And I'm like, so you've given him 4 opportunities to foul somebody before you're kind of even giving him a warning to let him know that you've reached your limit now. And I'm like, you know, it just seemed a bit odd, a bit too weak from him. And Villa, you know, I've never really considered Villa to be a sort of dirty team at all. And I'm not saying that they were dirty, because, you know, they weren't particularly dirty, but there was a few sort of, you know, where they stepped across their man or they cut the man down or whatever, and it's like, you know, that's a bit cynical, and it never got picked up. And I was just really surprised. But, you know, overall, I think, you know, obviously you've got to be happy with 3 points. It's what we needed. Certainly Nuno needs it, because I think he's under massive pressure, certainly from the fan base, if no one else, if not under pressure from Levy and co. He was under pressure from the fans. You know, myself, I personally don't think he's the right man, certainly not at the moment. But again, I don't really want to go through all that rigmarole of trying to change him again, because you just don't know who you're going to get, and you don't know how long, you know, that's going to last. And I don't want to go down that ever decreasing circle of where you go from here, you know. So, but a big 3 points for him, and maybe it's something that we can pick up from. Obviously, going into an international break, which, you know, get some points. International break, what does that mean when we come back? But, you know, we've got Newcastle when we come back, and they're having a real problem, so you know what that means. Not that I'm thinking that we're too Spursy or anything, but, you know, won't be the first time. But yeah, so, you know, that's just some thoughts from the weekend. Okay, we take a break now. Gives us a week or so to get over it and reset our batteries and reacquaint ourselves with our wives and girlfriends and boyfriends and all the rest of it, whilst there's no football on. And we go again as soon as it starts up again. But we're back in love with the game. Up the Spurs.